The Greek Dark Ages and Greek Renaissance, the history and legacy of the Bronze Age transition to Archaic Greece. Written by Charles River Editors. Narrated by Tracy Wells. Introduction. When people think of ancient Greece, images of philosophers such as Plato or Socrates often come to mind, as do great warriors like Pericles and Alexander the Great. But hundreds of years before Athens became a city, a Greek culture flourished and spread its tentacles throughout the western Mediterranean region via trade and warfare. Scholars have termed this pre-classical Greek culture the Mycenaean culture, which existed from about 2000 to 1200 BC, when Greece, along with much of the eastern Mediterranean, was thrust into a centuries-long Dark Ages. Before the Mycenaean culture collapsed, it was a vital part of the late Bronze Age Mediterranean system and stood on equal footing with some of the great powers of the region, such as the Egyptians and Hittites. Despite being ethnic Greeks and speaking a language that was the direct predecessor of Classical Greek, the Mycenaeans had more in common with their neighbours from the island of Crete, who are known today as the Minoans. Due to their cultural affinities with the Minoans and the fact that they conquered Crete yet still carried on many Minoan traditions, the Mycenaeans are viewed by some scholars as the torchbearers of a greater Aegean civilization, much the way the Romans carried on Hellenic civilization after the Greeks. Given that the Mycenaeans played such a vital role on the history in the late Bronze Age, it would be natural to assume there are countless studies and accurate chronologies on the subject, but the opposite is true. Although the Mycenaeans were literate, the corpus of written texts from the period is minimal, so historians are left to use a variety of methods in order to reconstruct a proper history of Mycenaean culture. Since that city was the first Bronze Age site discovered, it became a reference point for archaeologists and historians to use to refer to any Bronze Age discoveries in Greece. As that suggests, archaeology has provided the basis for all studies of the ancient Mycenaeans, as has art history, which can be the study of pottery, sculptures, reliefs and jewellery. The Homeric epics also provide some information about Mycenaean culture, though Homer was a poet who lived hundreds of years after the collapse of the Mycenaean culture. Classical Greek historians and geographers also wrote about the Mycenaeans, but their works are considered caution, since some of their statements have proved false, and they, like Homer, received much of their information through oral traditions. The Greek Dark Ages, sometimes referred to as the Homeric Age or the Geometric period, spans the era of Greek history from the end of the Mycenaean civilization around 1100 BC and the emergence of the Greek poleis in the 9th century BC.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?